use your common sense. When was the last time, anyone watching or listening to us talk, when was the last time an employer, a capitalist, explained to the public when asked about why he or she raised the price of some commodity, answered with the remark, I did that because I can make more profits that way. My costs, you see, have been steady or going down, and by raising the price while my costs go steady or down, I make more profit. No one has told you that, because the capitalists learned long ago that if you explain that to people, they will begin to understand that the 3% of our population who are employers, the other 97% of us are not. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 3% of us are employers. We are the ones who set the prices. That might make all the rest of us, how should I say, feel excluded, because we don't. At no point in the last 5 years did anyone anywhere ask me to participate in setting the price of anything, okay? I'm an employee where I work. I'm not an employer. And the employers do it whenever they can. And we actually know that. We know they're not held back by anything. We've heard phrases like, charge whatever the market will bear. Well, that's a not so nice, polite way of saying, grab it when you can. Nowadays, when prices are going up, every employer raises prices. You know why? Because the easiest, simplest thing to say when asked, why are you doing that? You answer, because everybody else is. In other words, the employer class as a whole has each of its members saying that because all the other members of this club are ripping the population off, I get to do it too. In fact, most capitalists know that they will be held to account by the shareholders of their company if they don't raise the prices every chance they get. So you don't need to look for tariffs or supply chain interruptions or the other attempts to excuse price fixing. Capitalists fix prices. They don't do it, they can't charge $50,000 for a pair of socks. That's true. There are limits. But within those limits, they can raise the prices 2% or 5% or 10% or 20%, and they do whenever they can. And by the way, blaming Mr. Trump, however much fun that might be for you, doesn't get at the problem. This is not a peculiarity of his. Look, he has plenty of peculiarities. Go after those. But make no mistake, when he says the inflation was worse under Biden than it is under him, that is correct. It's not particularly relevant to anything, but it is correct. The Democrats have no better approach to or solution for these problems because, as you say, Brian, they're busy fronting for the capitalist system, trying to put lipstick on that pig so you focus on the lipstick and not on the pig. The statement by my fellow economist that prices, when they go down, are always a sign of falling demand, that is simply stone cold wrong. I mean, it's shameful that any economist would say that. The most remarkable drop in prices in capitalism usually happens through productivity changes. I'll give you an example. The computers that we can now buy for a few $100s used to cost tens of thousands of dollars, and these were for computers with much less capacity than a $300 one will do now. Why? Because in many countries, U.S., China, and many others, an enormous effort was put in to bring down the cost of something deemed to be valuable. When human beings can mobilize to lower productivity, to raise productivity and lower costs, then they can achieve all kinds of gains. It is not true that to get prices to come down, we have to face a recession. That is pure propaganda to try to dissuade folk from making the demands that thankfully the comments that you read show people are seeing right through the subterfuge, and that's a very good sign, as you point out. Here's what they're doing. It's as if, I'm going to give an example, no different from theirs. It's as if we got a sermon, and a sermon said to us, you shouldn't be upset that prices are going up. And here's the reason. One of the prices going up is for alcohol. And wouldn't it be nicer if fewer people got drunk because they couldn't afford the higher priced alcohol? And you'd have to stop, scratch your head, and say, that doesn't deal with the problem, and that's a lame effort to distract attention from what the issue is. And exactly the same with what you just read to us. It is a truism in economics that you teach students that what you want in a capitalist economy is what we call steady prices. That is, prices that neither go up very much nor go down very much. Why? Because there are all kinds of distortions that happen when those kinds of prices happen. That's why the Federal Reserve, when it was established a century ago, had as one of its number one objectives price maintenance. In other words, keep prices steady. That's what you want. And that's why, by the way, the argument is very simple. It allows both the producer, who makes decisions about production, and the consumer, who makes decisions about what, where, and how to buy, to be able to count on the prices today being more or less what they will likely be next week, next month, next year. The reason we have the Federal Reserve is that the capitalist system by itself fails. Let me say that again. Fails. Oh, one more time. Fails to maintain the price stability it says it wants. It's sort of as if we have a kind of neurotic admission that we can't control our own economy, which of course we can. Richard Nixon, let me remind everyone, August 15th, 1971, Richard Nixon, Republican president, wants to have prices stable. So he declares, the president, a wage price freeze. He makes it a crime to raise or lower wages and prices. We didn't have any more up and down of the prices. He froze them. Can he do that? Yes. Did he do that? Yes. Did they? It was for 3 months initially. Did he renew it after 3 months because it worked? Yes. Now, there were people who wanted to raise their prices to make more profits, and they eventually got the thing ended. But the idea that we are at the slave of some magical, mystical event called the market, which tells us what to do, you know what that is? That's the same way of thinking as medieval people who thought that in the sky was somebody who made things happen each day in your life from beginning to end. Now, some people still believe that. I respect that. Those people should believe that God is also controlling the market. The rest of us don't. The second thing conventional economics teaches is that, yes, if you have prices going up, you get into a problem. Here's the problem that's taught to students. As prices go up, people start calculating how to adjust to that fact, and then they make decisions that aren't good. For example, I don't need a new washing machine. But if I notice that the price of the washing machine is going up every couple of weeks, I'm going to buy one sooner rather than later. And by wanting to buy one, I help drive the price up because everybody else is doing that too. In other words, not only does capitalism fail to keep prices stable, when prices go up, inflations, they tend to be self-reinforcing and therefore become dangerous. Because as prices go up really fast, then any money you've saved is losing value with each passing week. And that makes you make decisions you would not otherwise make. And so finally, they teach students the exact opposite. What are the problems if prices are going down? Well, here's one. If the price of your washing machines are going down, even though you need one, you're going to stay with the old one a little longer because you're hoping next month, next year, to buy that machine at $300 less than you would have had to pay if you bought it this week. And that reinforces the downturn of prices because nobody is selling anything because everybody's holding back. For all those reasons and more like it, we have this stupid advice from the Wall Street Journal or wherever you get it, taking out of context what I just explained and telling people you should be grateful that it isn't a deflation. No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't be grateful for a deflation, and you shouldn't be grateful for an inflation, because those are dangerous, out of control aspects of a private capitalism that has to set up governmental controls like the Federal Reserve in order to prevent this from spinning out of control. What you should get is an admission that neither Mr. Trump nor Mr. Biden are able to control this. Not because you can't do it, Nixon showed them how to do it, but because they don't want to take the political heat, mostly from capitalists who want the freedom to raise and lower the prices when, how, and where they feel like it in order to maximize their profit. They don't want interference. That's why you have an inflation, and the nonsense about being grateful that you don't have a deflation misunderstands the whole situation.